It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to get crazy. It's gonna be loud. This is our house. We do what we wanna. We'll blow the roof out. Everybody's coming. It's about to get crazy. It's about to go down. It's about to go down.
You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Life is not easy. Life isn't fair. It never was, and it never will be. A good life takes grit, because the best things in life come from hard work, sacrifice, resolve, determination, and perseverance. Because grit means never quitting. It means coming back time and time again until you succeed. So on this show, we talk hunting, we talk outdoors, we talk conservation, we talk family and life. We talk fitness, and we talk strength of body, strength of mind, and strength of character. Prioritize who you are and who you want to be. Get gritty, because life isn't fair, and a little grit can make all the difference.
Woo!
Okay. All right, folks. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. We are in the Gritty studio that's kind of half built right now.
Yeah.
But it's still cool, huh?
It looks really good. I'm excited to see the finished product.
Yeah. So I am
all
here.
this barnwood.
Yeah. I'm here with Rihana Cary,
Woo! Hello.
my buddy
Yep.
and fellow bow hunter.
Yes.
We did a workout today.
It was tough.
What'd you think?
It was okay. It was one of the shortest workouts I've done, but it was so tough. I was dripping sweat by the end.
I like that it's kind of farm worky.
Yeah.
Farm work like, right?
It's like getting you prepped for packing, heavy weight.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah.
I did.
I
Drug a dog.
it's been a long day, folks.
It's been a long. I've been up since like 4:30. So I have drug a deer before, and they are freaking heavy.
Yeah.
So that drag was a good idea. I need to do that.
Yeah, there was
Incorporate it
the
in my
sled
workouts.
drag.
Yes.
And then like 100-pound sandbag across your chest.
Yeah.
And then you clean the sandbag like 5 times.
Mine was 70.
70.
Yes.
Then it was burpees, like 15 burpees on a circuit. You just keep going for 12 minutes.
Yeah. It was tough.
I did not like carrying the sandbag on my chest.
It was heavy. It was too heavy. I had to hold it a little bit lower.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise it
on the
would
waist.
Yeah. But I also hiked this morning too. And so it was
On
good.
top of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. It was a short workout, but powerful.
Yep. Explosive
And
cardio.
you know what? You never cease to amaze me. Like that is a heavy sled. It's a heavy sandbag. It's awkward. You just crushed it.
I had to keep up with the boys.
That's my thing is I feel like it's like when we're shooting bows with Cam and stuff at the TAC. We got Spieler and everything. We're going from site, station to station. You keep up with all of it.
I have to. I mean, for me, I would feel like, I have to be able to keep up with the boys and pack as much as they do. There's no excuse for me not to, I feel like. And I want to be an active participant and do a good job.
You're kind of a all around badass.
Oh,
like
you're so sweet. I don't
it's
think
true.
that. No,
it's true.
I think, I just want to succeed and,
I look around though and I see people that go out and try to do hunts and I don't think they understand how physically demanding it is, how mentally tough it is, making a shot under pressure, how difficult that is. Like all of that together, you manage to do all of it. So,
I do good under pressure. I feel like that's where I thrive more so. And that's not for everyone. Sometimes the pressure can be too much, but for me, instead of getting like tunnel vision, I feel like I gather myself and I take a deep breath and, it's all mental. My friend says it's all mental and it really is.
We just talked about that on this last podcast with Spieler.
Yeah.
And, I think it is. There's a huge mental, component to it.
It is all mental to a certain extent. There are physical things that some people just really can't do. And, that's totally fine. For me, I just, if I don't feel comfortable doing something, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I want to at least try something once. And if I don't like it, then I'm not going to do it. But I guess.
How long did it take for you to be successful with a bow and arrow?
I did pretty good from the get-go. So for me, like, it was a running joke with the people I was hunting with. You're on a streak. It's not going to last forever. Next year, you're on a streak. It's not going to last forever. Don't get used to this.
Yeah.
Like, hunting is hard, and you're doing a good job, obviously, but, at some point you're not going to get an animal.
Yeah.
And I have had those experiences. I've been very fortunate and have, been able to harvest, I think 5 elk and 4 or 5. And so 5. Yeah.
In how many years?
6.5. Yeah. So I've gone 1 year without one. And that was really tough for me. It was real tough.
But you're hunting on a bunch of ranches and private property.
Yeah, right.
It's all high fence.
No, yeah. You guys, Gritty is not telling the truth right now.
Yeah. So, that's it too. You're like on public land and you're running the rat race like everybody else. These aren't like, premium draw tags either.
No, it's all over the counter. It's all been in Oregon. I put in for other states, and hopefully at some point I'll draw a good tag. I was supposed to go to Montana with my good friends, Johnny and Kelsey Burford this year, but it was 100% odds for drawing.
Yeah.
And I didn't draw. So that was kind of harsh.
Ouch.
I was planning on going to Montana.
At least you're not lucky that way.
I know, right? Like tags, no, I'm not lucky that way. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I guess I feel like luck is on my side sometimes. And 2, I do put in the effort. Like, on the mornings you don't want to get up, you get up anyways and go. So I think that's...
Yeah, I think there's that. And I think you capitalize on the opportunities that you have. Like maybe you hunt that whole time, you get one chance. There's a lot of guys that don't capitalize on those chances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me included. Like you'll hunt 7 days and have that one opportunity. The people that capitalize on those sliver of moments that they have every single time, most of the time, that's a feat, man.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Well, and it's not all the time. I hunt a lot of different things. I've just been really lucky with elk and fortunate with them. But I've gone deer hunting multiple times and not gotten something, and been. Well, turkeys, those are one thing, so real hard to get. But, I have been on a lot of unsuccessful hunts, and, I've taken something from each of those, and I've had an opportunity almost every single one. And so it's been my failure. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Like, okay, but at the same time, if you look at it like, a negative, you're never going to grow as a hunter. And so for me, I remember exactly what I did wrong, so I can know not to do it again, which I think most hunters do. It's like you learn from your mistakes. And also too, I feel like I have had a more of an opportunity to be outdoors and hunt a lot more than most people. So that also plays
time in the woods. Yeah.
I've been able to, be out in the woods a lot more frequently than the normal person, I feel like. So
yeah, I feel like time in the field. A lot of people will text me and ask me questions about, how they can increase their odds of success. What kind of fitness program can I do? What can I do here? What can I do there? How do I set up my bow? Where do I hunt? All these questions, right? To help them become more successful. And a lot of times my response is this simple: just instead of 7 days, go 14.
Increase your time.
Increase your time in the field.
Yep.
Because that time in the field, the more days you're out there,
the more opportunity.
Because I consider that moment of truth when you make that shot and you harvest that animal. That moment is like a perfect storm of so many events that collide. It's like, how many times have you been just seconds away from sealing the deal and it fell apart?
Yes.
It wasn't the perfect storm, right? The wind switched, or, some cow comes along and the bull like switches direction right at the last second when you were about to have him, in your palm. It's like,
or you make a mistake. Like last year I had my rain jacket on and it wasn't raining and I came to full draw and it was so loud that the bull just heard it. So
now you probably are like mindful of that every single time. You're like, okay, stop raining. This jacket's coming off now.
Or I'm not going to put my rain jacket on.
Yep.
I'll be soaking. September, it's not that cold. So
yeah. Which I'm the same way. Like I've become when it comes to noise, I'm super,
conscious of it.
Yep. And I get really, everything is dialed to be quiet.
Yes, 100%.
And if I get wet, oh well, I don't care. It's part of you dry out.
Yep.
And when you're wearing good gear, you can afford to get wet
Yeah.
and then dry out.
Yeah.
Other hunts though, I've been on some experiences where I didn't put rain gear on and it was like, I'll just get wet, and then got so
miserable.
wet, and then it didn't get warm. And then you're stuck with one change of clothes, the ones you got on. And so you kind of have to manage it in so many ways. But you learn in that time in the field, when you get everything lined up and that perfect storm happens, that just takes maybe 14 days instead of 10.
Yeah, for sure. That one extra
7.
day, you leave a day early because you want to go home and see your family. And, that if that's the choice that you make, but that one day that you left, or that one morning that you didn't hunt, could have been that one opportunity that you would have had. You never know. And so for me, it's always that unknown, well, I have to go because who knows, maybe today's the day, or maybe, this time's the time. So it's just, taking lots of energy supplements. I mean, I literally live on Blaze and Ignite when I am out in the field because, I get tired. So, I mean, I don't take too much, folks. Yeah. But, I just have to.
I use a lot of Ignite and now Slumber. And so sometimes I can't sleep. Really? And I'm cause it's uncomfortable or I'm wet.
Oh yeah. That's true.
I'm climbing in my sleeping bag maybe with some wet pants on because I need them to dry by morning.
Yeah. I'll have to bring some. I'm going to Alaska and I've never hunted there, but you have to be prepared for everything. Yeah. Especially during September. And so, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited, but I'm going to have to bring a lot of different.
Yeah, I kind of live on Ignite, usually 1 to 2, usually 2. The apple cider Ignite is
warm, especially when it's cold
in the morning. I like apple cider Ignite. I'm not a cocoa person or hot chocolate.
I love the cocoa. Jess and I lived on the cocoa when we were in New Zealand.
People that like chocolate, hot chocolate, they love it.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a hot chocolate guy. My wife is big time, and I'm like, but the apple cider is money. So hot apple cider, and then I don't like to cook in the morning because I don't want to. So
I want that extra 5 minutes.
I just, and I don't like to eat a lot in the morning because it usually takes a little while for me to wake up.
Well, you're kind of more of that keto person that you like to have that starvation period too, right? Or what do you call it? Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I don't eat a lot in the morning. Yeah. And if I do, it's just protein or fat, something like that. Cause I don't know. I just don't feel good. And so I wake up and I'll drink the cider and have a little half of a peanut butter bar or something, like a perfect bar.
Yeah. Which I love, you
or
guys.
Like a Heather's Choice Packaroon or something. I'll nibble on something like that. And then just so I can have something with the hot cider Ignite. Yeah. So I'll have that, just a little bit of something. Then I'll go hours, 3-4 hours hunting. And I feel great. And then 11, I start to feel okay, I could eat something now. I kind of feel like eating, and I eat a little bit then, and tend to eat a lot in the second half of the day. But, in the early part, I don't. But
I am the opposite.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% the opposite. I have to have breakfast right when I wake up. So I'll do usually oatmeal or something like that. I made my own backpacking granola. Yep. And so I got some coconut powdered milk and put that in with my granola and, put some freeze-dried blueberries in there. And I mean, that just gets me going for the day. And then I can wait until lunch. Yeah. And then, and two, I need my 6 small meals a day. I find I need to have a snack in between lunch, and usually, unless it's really crazy, then I don't have to, but, hunting, but yeah, I have to eat a lot.
The first week or so that I get out and I'm backpacking hunting a lot, I tend to eat more, but later to make myself eat.
Which, you need to, because you're burning so many extra calories out there.
But it's a chore. If it were up to me, I'd just go straight to bed. I
That's-
would just skip meals and not eat.
Oh.
Like I also get into the zone like chasing animals,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be bothered with food. Like I'll become obsessed with a goal,
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 days, and I will just kind of just push the whole concept of food and water to the side.
That's crazy. I mean, I could never do that.
Yeah.
I have to drink a lot of water, and but I mean, if I'm, in the middle of a good, like, streak with elk or something like that, then I'm like, don't even think about it.
Right.
It's
And
not
then
even
before
on
you
my
know
mind.
it, you have spent the whole day like in tight
Yeah.
with this bull, and you've been trying to get this
Yeah.
shot off, and then it all comes together, and I haven't eaten a thing since yesterday. It's like I'll get that way. But I think part of that's the sort of that keto thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think I burn fat really well.
Yeah.
Just because I tend to run that way all the time. And the more we get into the hunt and the more I'm out hiking all the time, the more I think my body gets efficient at running on low calories and burning its own fat.
Mm-hmm.
So when, I was 195 when I went into the season, and granted I got a little sick at some point, but I got down to 172 in like 5 weeks from 195. And
Wow.
then I rode like 175 as my weight.
Do you feel like
through-
you lost muscle?
A ton of muscle, yeah.
Muscle.
But
Okay.
I should say I lost upper body muscle, but I gained a whole lot of lower body
Yeah.
strength. So I think the body goes, okay, look, this is what we're doing
Yeah.
here. And you don't really need this upper body muscle for
Yeah.
the 4 months of hunting and hiking from like September or late August really through December. It's like, so it gets efficient.
Yeah.
And it starts reallocating where the muscle should
the
be.
muscle should be, yeah.
And
The body
before
is
you know
crazy.
it, it's like, yeah, I lost a lot of that upper body strength, but the lower body could go forever, and,
For sure.
and it was fine. Like, I just kind of know I lose a lot of weight, a lot of strength, upper body strength throughout the season.
I do too, typically. Because I try and, when I'm not hunting, train all of the muscle groups. And so during hunting season, I notice that I lose a lot of that strength. And
I still feel awesome. Like at the end of the season, last year, I felt like I could hike 20 miles a day and I could just go and go and go and wake up and feel great. And I feel all around healthy.
yeah.
I go into the gym though, and I try to push press a heavy bar or pick up some heavy weights, and it's like, whoa, like this is really like, I remember putting on the barbell and then trying to do a press, and I was like, oh yeah, it's gone. It's gone. These arms are like noodles. Yeah.
Muscle memory, right?
But it's like anything, I followed Cam for a long time, and Cam would put on muscle, and then he'd go into the season and he would lose a lot of muscle, and then he'd get it back again. And you watch him early, and he would do these marathons and be 155 pounds or 60 pounds or something.
And then he puts it right back on.
And then he, after, a few months, he'd start building up the upper body strength again, and it was seasonal.
Yeah.
And if he was going to go do a run, he'd lose a little bit of weight. Somehow now he's been able to master maintaining muscle mass and doing long marathon runs. Like he's got that perfect build for hunting, and intense, heavy hunting without losing, a lot of that upper body strength.
Well, he does a really good job of training both muscle groups, like his upper and lower, every day almost. Like when I lift with them, I have to pick and choose the days that I do because I can't do arms every day like they can.
Yeah.
He really does a good job of, training those muscle groups, and it obviously works for him. It would not work for me.
Well, and he talked to me about it, and he said he manages his trips better too. I don't feel like I'm quite I don't have the luxury of doing that. Like,
you have to go when you can go.
there's some trips that I have planned. I kind of got to go when I can go. So sometimes I'll go 3 weeks or 4 weeks in a row, this place with just a couple of days to maybe go to a conventional gym or something.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time you're focused on the hunt.
Yep.
For day in and day out. And it's not that that doesn't push my body.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't push the upper body.
Yeah.
the same
And I've
way.
always said, you know, I should do push-ups or like sit-ups before or after, and that never happens because you're so
No, and that's the
dead
thing is,
tired.
that's the thing is,
Yeah.
I had that intention last year. I'm like, well, I'm going to try to, so I brought a barbell with me in the back of the truck. I brought some rings and I brought some stuff, and I tried to maintain some level of fitness
Yeah.
out, like while I went through all these different hunts and
Yeah.
on these different trips.
Did it work well for you?
It was better than the year before.
That's good.
It was better than the year before, but hunting itself is so taxing,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Tired. You're up early in the morning. You're out late at night.
especially early season when the sun is out as long as it is.
Yes.
That's the hardest time of year for me
100%.
because unless you take an afternoon nap, which I have a very difficult time doing when I'm hunting elk because I kill more elk in the afternoon than any other time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a really tough time not hunting in every daylight moment.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people,
feel
they're
you.
like, we're going to take a nap for 2 hours. I'm like, when I haven't filled the tag yet, I
Yeah.
can't
do it.
do it.
I'm
But
probably going to do that a lot more this year. Be out there just all day long, and because I only have a short window to get it done. And
Yeah.
So I'm leaving for Alaska, and I'm going to be gone for the half of elk season, and so it's so hard for me. I mean, I'm really
are the
excited.
dates?
I'm going to be gone the 13th through the 25th. I'm still working out the dates. That's my time frame when I can go, but I don't know that I'm going to go that whole time.
this is moose.
This is moose, yeah, Alaska moose, and I'm real excited about it. I've never hunted moose. It's always been a dream of mine.
And this is bow archery.
Yeah, archery only. Hmm. And I'm going with who Chad Mendes went with a few years ago, and he killed an absolute giant. And so it's a really good area.
September's not the rut for
The end of it, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the end of
Okay.
September. I guess that's when they're starting. That's
Okay.
the better week to go because it starts, I think.
Do you know what part of
September
Alaska?
1st. Over out of Galena is where we're going. Out of Galena.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to be on the Yukon.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I just have never been to Alaska. This is going to be my very first experience.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like the ultimate, frontier, like
Right.
where I could just like go
Oh,
and
for sure. Like,
well, I mean, obviously, have you ever seen that show, what is it called? I don't know. It's just it's fascinating to watch those people that just live in Alaska
Yep.
forever and ever. I mean, it looks like I could maybe do that for like 2 months. And then I'd be like, okay, where's Mexican food? Where's some margaritas? Like as soon as I get out of those Elk Mountains, I go and get Mexican food, chips and salsa, and a margarita.
yeah, there's something.
Or 2 margaritas.
There's something civilization offers.
yeah.
As much as I like the
Oh.
I like the two juxtapose. I
Yes.
want to go have that Spartan, because you know why? When you come back from that Alaskan experience, that chips and salsa never tasted so good.
So good. That's
I mean,
what it is. Like even a hamburger
water.
that I would never eat.
Hot
or
water in a bathtub,
right?
you're just like,
a shower.
wow,
Like
this is
a real shower.
yeah. There's a certain, when you come home from it, you kind of miss the solitude and the challenge of it all, but you're also so grateful for what we have.
What you have. And as soon as I'm home, I'm thinking about my next adventure. Like, where am I going to go next?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
cursed that way.
right?
too.
But I think that's the disease we all have as hunters. It's like once you experience it and you are successful, it's just you don't ever want to stop. Like I want to go to New Zealand like tomorrow because I didn't get my tar. And so I'm like, okay, when can I go? When can I get it done? Because that animal was just like one of the coolest ones I've ever been after. And the terrain is the toughest ever.
I know.
So-
I didn't get a tar with my bow either.
Isn't it? It's like your unicorn. You have to get it done.
Well, it's not just the tar. They're an incredible animal. And I didn't appreciate them until I hunted them.
Went and saw.
Yep.
See, that was like, well, I've got a lot of dream hunts, a long list, but tar was at the top. So I was excited to go.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him out there, I was like, this is exactly why I wanted to shoot a tar.
Right. I mean, the terrain was phenomenal and it had its own challenges. But one thing I noticed about tar is we talked about it a few times on this podcast. They're like the grizzly of the mountain.
Yeah.
Like their hair's billowing. They got
yeah.
this kind of this strut and they got these
Regal.
horns. Yeah. And
I
they're,
just think that they're regal.
and, they're they're pugnacious. Like they have this attitude, and they don't bounce away like a scared whitetail or something. They like bounce away and come back at you, and like, and they blow, and they're kind of like
whistle.
They get mad at you, and they're like shaking their mane and their body, and they're like, "Come at me, come at me!" Like there's this sort of boldness that they have, that I think is unique. That I'm trying to think of another animal, like a moose, perhaps would be kind of like, oh, really?
I don't know. That moose I saw today was just like, this berry's real good. This berry.
You saw a moose today?
Yes, we didn't tell you that.
No.
So
here in Utah.
Here in Utah, we were doing a photo shoot early this morning, and David said, "Wow, this looks like a perfect spot for a moose to be." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how epic would that be if one came out?" Like a minute later, guess what comes sauntering out into this pond? A moose.
Really?
And I'm like, this is a sign that my Alaska trip is going to be fruitful, hopefully. At least that's how I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And so we got close to it. I got to 30 yards from it.
Really?
I was just sitting there looking at me like, I was like, well, I hope this isn't how it is in Alaska, because this is not going to be any fun.
I hunted moose last year for the first time with Aaron and I, and we're about to publish the video. It'll be out in 2 weeks of this trip that he and I went on.
Yeah.
And I've said this on another podcast. Moose are not in my opinion, they're not a hard animal to sneak up on.
Because they don't have good eyesight, I've heard. Is kind of
and they're just not, they're the king of the mountain, right? Like what's going to bring it down? Like there's a certain amount of like, I don't know, power that it has, especially a bull moose, where they just don't pay attention
as much.
They're not like, you look at a coos deer, it's like,
bye. You'll never see it again.
Schizophrenic because it's afraid because it weighs like
its
20
own shadow.
pounds, and
like
it
sees its
like
shadow.
a rabbit. Like it's everything can kill it and eat it. But a moose, they're kind of slow and dumbish.
Oh gosh.
And
well,
so,
I've seen them run away.
Yeah. I mean, like they kind of slow thinking. It seems like, and so, in that regard, they don't appeal to me as an animal I want to hunt with a bow, because they kind of are like, they're not like trying to spot and stalk a whitetail. Yeah. That's super alert.
Yeah.
But that's not why you were drawn to moose, in my opinion. Like you're drawn to moose because of the place they live. Yeah, Alaska. And because the power and majesty and the majestic nature of the animal.
Well, and two, one of the first the first wild game meats that I've ever tried was moose. Yeah. And I loved it. I love moose, and I'd love some moose burger. So really too, and my freezer needs it. So I'm going to shoot a moose. If I get close to one, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to do it.
I'm going just a couple weeks after you. Yeah. With Dustin Rowe.
Oh yeah, that's right. You told me about that.
Yukon area, and we're going to go, same thing.
Yeah.
And they should be rutting, archery. It should be amazing. My first moose had a wound in its side that was where like a gallon of pus came out.
Oh my! Oh.
Like it's on the Instagram. It's on the gram. I've shared it with people.
Gosh.
Did
you eat it?
It's intense.
Yeah, you still did.
And and so the moose. I mean, the injury. The moose seemed fine. Mm-hmm. Like, and then I shot it, and then when we cut it open, it's like whoa, and then it smelled. It's one of the worst smells I've ever had in my life. No. Snyder was trying not to vomit. Like he was like, like about to lose it. And it just kept coming out, just piles of it. And it smelled so wrong.
It was probably going to die anyways.
I don't know. I think it was going to bounce back. I don't know.
So?
It's hard to know, right? But that infection was. I heard from the guide that was with us, works for Primitive, Aaron Evans. He's like, man, we've come across stuff like this on moose a lot because they get stabbed and the infection happens behind the muscle tissue and it just sort of festers. And they've had some that they're all healed over and that's just an infection in there. And they've had
like
gallons.
An abscess, yeah.
They've had gallons come out of the same stuff.
Oh my gosh.
But my moose didn't taste good.
It didn't. Dang.
I mean, it tastes good.
Yeah.
But you got to cook it like 12 hours in the crock pot for it to be like soft.
Well, that must be something to do with it then.
And Snyder killed a moose like the day or two later, same spot. And same age, same everything, and his moose tastes like candy.
Really?
Melts in your mouth.
Oh,
Some of the best meat
dang.
you've ever had.
So what you're telling me is to shoot one without a massive wound.
Yeah, but how do you know, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm speculating is the issue. I don't
Yeah.
really know. It's still a mystery, but
Interesting.
it definitely not every animal, just because of its species,
is going to taste.
it's going to taste great, right?
That's
I've just
true.
learned that over time.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I shot a mule deer here, and it was so sagey here in Utah. And
I've heard people say that.
Oh, it was strong, and it smelt. It tasted just like it smelled. So that's what the hardest part was for me. Was thinking about that.
Yeah,
smell.
I've had bear that is the best meat I've ever had.
Me too.
And then I've had bear
That was horrible.
that tasted like dead fish.
Yeah. Well, if they're eating fish, then probably that's what it would taste like.
Yeah.
Dang, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, like, tahr, what was it like for you hunting tahr?
It was probably one of the most.
And how come you didn't kill one?
I shot at one, but the dang thing was so dang fast. It spun my arrow. I couldn't believe how fast those things moved. I was shocked. I mean, I was 40 yards and shot, and it was aware that I was there. It was looking at me like, oh, what are you? It had spotted me.
You're preaching to the choir.
And I wish, because I ranged him at 60, and I had felt comfortable shooting at 60, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to be greedy, and I'm going to get that extra 20, I'm going to do it. So,
It's about getting close.
yeah. So I closed the distance and stepped on a little rock, and it was, made a little noise. And so just looked back at me, and I was like, oh, it's now or never. Cause he was like right on the edge of the cliff.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I was like, it's now or never. So I released, and it went right by his face. He spun around so fast. So that was unfortunate, but it was still cool to get that close, because in that terrain, it's so loud. Scree it's the
rocks
death.
were falling and tumbling down the hill.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe that. I came around. I mean, it was just the perfect situation where they were located. I could come over this like large quarry of rocks or whatever you'd call it, and look down on them. And then they just so happened to like kind of go over the next little rock patch, so I could kind of get a little bit closer. It was the only tussock patch in all of the scree, and so that I stalked up to 40 yards, and there was one little rock that ruined it for me. But still, that was an incredible opportunity to even get that close with a bow where we were at. But it was probably one of my favorite hunts, just because of how challenging it was, and what a empowering experience. It was just the adventure of a lifetime, because, I was with Jess Byers, and she is another, empowering woman, and it was just cool to experience that with her and, conquer the mountains. Like literally we conquered those mountains.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was some of the toughest terrain that I've ever been in. And, that scree, especially going uphill in it, we definitely, made a few errors in where we went up the mountain. And when you're trying to get across that scree and going uphill, it's taking, one step forward, two steps back. So it's so frustrating, just trying to get.
It's like sand.
Yeah. And then
it's
dune. False summits. So you look like you see the summit. Nope. You got another, 100, 200 yards to get to the top. And then it just kept on happening. And you're just like, okay, could I be at the top already? And then we had bad weather. So that moved in really fast. And, so that hindered our hunt, and we weren't able to hunt as long. And, we just actually shot a tahr. We had a rifle with us. We thought it was our last night, and, the sun was going down, and so she grabbed the rifle, shot a tahr. I thought I saw it topple over, but it went behind rocks, so I couldn't tell. We saw the nannies run by, and so, we knew that he didn't follow the nannies. And so logically, we're like, okay, I'm pretty sure that tahr is down, but we're losing light. It's going to be dark, and you're not going to go down that and make it back up, in the dark. It's just way too dangerous. And especially because we were at the top of the mountain. We were 3,000 feet in elevation up from camp and on the other side of the mountain. So we were camped on the basin on the completely other side. So, we had to still trek down that, and it's very dangerous, especially at night in the dark, even going down that, because there's a lot of, places that you can fall and, die. Yeah. And so, we decided not to go after the tar that night. And the guide, TJ, made that call. And so, we went down in the morning, and we were going to have the helicopter go with us and look for it, because they were going to come and pick us up the next morning. Well, then we realized that the helicopter, we had one more day. We didn't know.
Okay.
We had one more day. And so we were like, thank goodness. Okay, now we can just go up and get it. I thought I had another opportunity. And we got maybe a quarter of the way up the mountain, and the helicopter pilot messaged me on my inReach, because they have my number, and I'd been communicating with them a little bit. And they messaged us and said, we have to come and pick you up by 2:30. And we're like, okay, well, we have a tar down. Can you guys come and get us, and we can go and get it? No, it's absolutely too windy to underload it. So, which was fine with us. We wanted to go up and get close to it and do the work for it. So, so it was 9:00, and we're like, we're only a fourth of the way up. It takes 3 hours to get up to the top of the summit. And so, we were like, okay, we got this. We can do it. We can make it. We can get up there. We'll just hurry. And so we get, about half the way up, message us again. Weather's moving in too fast. We have to come and get you by 12:30. So our mark was moved up even more. And so we're like, all right, we really got to hurt. And at this point, it's just Jess and I. TJ had gone back to pack up camp. And then the other guy that was with us, he had hurt his hip. And so he was, far behind us. And so we just booked it as fast as we could. We got up to the top of the mountain, and not even knowing 100% that Jess's tar was on the other side of the mountain.
Right.
We didn't know. And so, we got up to the top, we crested over, and in that moment, I looked at the clock, and it was 12:15, and I was like, we're going to be stuck here now for a week, because we're not even at the tar. They're coming to get us now. I figured he's send me your location. And so, I'm like, there's no way that we're going to make this time frame. And you can see the weather moving in.
Yeah.
It's these dark clouds, and it's rain pouring, and you're just okay, okay, this is it. We're here.
Keep in mind, this is Lord of the Rings, folks.
It's what it looked like. I'm like, oh my gosh, there is, what is it? Not Voldemort, because that's Harry Potter. What is it? The eye. What is it?
Eye of Sauron.
The eye of Sauron is coming for you. And two, we're on the other side of the mountain and getting back up the scree that we had just come up. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the video of us sliding down the scree. It was horrible getting down. I was like, I don't even know how we're going to get up this with a tar on our back. It's literally going to take us all night. And so, we got, at that point we hadn't found the tar. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to be stuck here. And, we're going down and literally sliding down on our butts. And I just saw that mane blowing in the wind. And we started bawling. We started crying. I'm like, just cussing. We were saying so many different things. Some of the videos I couldn't even post because it was it was bad. Well, we had just gone back from Australia with Kim and Adam. And so, Aussies, I cuss a lot anyways.
They rub off on you. So anyways,
when in Rome, it was okay. We were in New Zealand still, so they do that there too. But so it was the most unexplainable feeling. It wasn't even my animal. I didn't shoot it, but it felt like we had just conquered the world, because not only did we get up that mountain as fast as we could, but we found the animal. We were there, and it was just her and I. We got there, we found it in the craziest terrain, and then we field dressed it, and the helicopter's messaging us saying, well, where are you? Send them the pin. We see them circling us. Yeah. We're like, oh, okay, they see us. I'm waving. I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. They see us. Here we are. Okay, they're going to come and get us or whatever. No, they kept circling. Couldn't find us. They didn't see us. And so, by this point, Grant had made it to to the top of the mountain, and the helicopter went and picked him up, and he is the one that spotted us. He saw the red of the cape because we had caped him out, and so finally they ended up seeing us. The wind was picking up horrible. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna die. Like, we're this, and mind you too, they sent me a message saying we're low on fuel. We have to, like,
This is awesome. Yeah.
it was. You're already so like overwhelmed with emotions finding the animal. And then you're in this situation where you think you're going to be stuck there for a week. And then they say, okay, oh, well, we see you now. We have to try and hover. We're going to try and find a place. You guys are going to just have to come wherever we can hover.
Yeah.
And so it was just a whirlwind of things that happened, that transpired. So finally, Jess and I field dressed. We took care of the animal, got it in the backpack. They saw us, and one of the helicopter pilots came over this ridge, and I was just like, yes, we're saved. Well, no. It was horrible. So he had the helicopter pilot was like getting pushed into the mountain. So I could see him like, pulling back, getting pushed, pulling back, getting pushed. Yeah. And so, he, the guy directs us where to go. He's like, get down, get down, get down. It was like the most intense moment. I felt like I was a Navy SEAL and I was going to go out to war and like, get on the plane, hurry up. We gotta go now. And so, I'm sitting there bent down and I'm the first one. So I just see this helicopter coming at me at like Mach speed. And I'm just like, I'm going to get crushed by this thing right now. That's how I'm going to go. I'm going to be crushed by a helicopter. Like I'm dead. And so, it stops and hovered. And so I was like, okay, like I get in, I put my foot down. I'm like, you guys didn't go over this in training with us. Like, how the heck do I like get in this?
This is like a life and death.
I'm like,
extraction.
I really wish that I would be a little bit smarter about this. But anyways, as I put my foot on the step, my weight pushes the helicopter down and it hits the side of the mountain and then pulls back up. So I'm like getting on it and he has to pull away. And I'm just like, this is how I die. Like I thought that I was going to die. I have never felt this feeling before. And I was just like, oh my gosh. It makes me cry thinking about it because I literally have never ever thought that I was going to die before until that moment.
Yeah.
And then, so I didn't die. I got in the helicopter. Jess jumps in and I like barrel rolled. I don't even know how we didn't die because I was like a hot mess. I was like, I had to apologize to the pilot. I was like, I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was going to die. So anyways, Jess jumps in and I'm bawling and I just grab Jess. We're just holding on to each other. And that wasn't even the scariest part.
Yeah.
After we'd gotten in, he was pulling us away and it was so windy that we just kept getting pushed back into the mountain. And all I'm thinking about is all of the helicopters that, get pushed into the side of the mountains or even those float planes. I mean, how many stories do you hear every year? They go down because of high winds. And so, that's in my head and that's all I was thinking about. I was like a second away from grabbing my phone and saying like a goodbye to my family. Like I'm never going to see you guys again.
I felt that way in
helicopter crash
when I was in BC hunting mountain goats and Snyder and I were
float plane.
Yeah. And it was a bush plane. It had the wheels on it, no floats and there's no water. It was just like mountains and trees as far as you could see. I mean, if you had to go down, you're dead,
Well, when that wind picks you up and pushes you, it's your stomach drops every single time.
We had to, there was this shortcut where if you go around, it took like an extra hour or 40 minutes or something like that, maybe 30, but you could like take the shortcut and go right over the mountain. And there was this narrow spot in the mountain where you could just kind of barely get enough lift to clear that mountain through that crack. And then you just drop down the other side and you're home free. But man, if you don't climb high enough, you just smash into the mountain.
Yeah.
Or if you get blown in the little crevice, like we were passing by and I was like, we are so close to this mountain. I feel like I could jump out and I'd be okay, but you're going super fast in this plane. You don't feel it, but it's like you hit that mountain, you're dead.
Yeah.
And all I could picture is we were coming on the hill and we were not getting enough altitude to make over the mountain. I'm like, we didn't get enough altitude till we were practically hitting the mountain. I didn't like that. I didn't like that it was like 50 yards to the ground, you know?
No, thanks. Yeah. I mean, that's, I feel like the most dangerous part is taking those small airplanes. For sure. Yeah. And
if I can avoid the plane,
yeah,
I want to. The helicopter, the plane, like that's where people die.
Yeah.
Often in these kind of, you know, wilderness adventures where, you know, you're getting taken out like that.
Luckily, the helicopter pilot that came and got us is the most experienced, and he actually owned the company, Tecapo Helicopters, but he was amazing. And I still to this day told him that he saved my life. I'm like, you saved my life. I thought I was going to die. And any other pilot, we very well could have, honestly. Yeah. I mean, it was such high winds, but the thing was he didn't want us to be stuck there for the next week because we would have been the weather. And two, you know, after we got out, and the storm moved in, we heard of guys that were there for a week and a half because there weren't enough helicopters to shuttle everyone out.
Yeah. Cause it's wintertime over there.
Yes.
When you were there. So we were kind of coming on the tail end of it. We went a little bit after you.
Yeah. Which would have been cool.
The Tahr.
Yeah.
What I noticed that surprised me about Tahr is how switched on they are. Because the first shot I took on a Tahr, he moved just as the shot was breaking on a hinge release. And so he was already kind of stepping out of the way as the shot went. And then the second time, now he's been shot at. And so he jumps forward, and we weren't sure if I hit it or not. It was foggy. It's a lot of fog.
But you can barely tell because their manes are so thick. Yeah. Even once you hit it, you cannot see that vibration in the body like you would a deer or an elk.
And so the second shot, it was a long shot, like 78 yards, and I wasn't sure if I hit it already, and I feel like I need to take another shot, and that thing was long gone before the arrow ever got there.
Yeah,
long gone.
Right.
We watched it in slow motion and zoom in on it. It's like gone.
Yeah.
And then later, other opportunities came about, and there were times where they just stood there until the arrow hit. You know, Casey shot at one, and it did not leave until the arrow went past it. Dang. But then I shot at one where that thing was long gone again before the arrow got there. You know, and it's like, and the thing that I noticed about them was, you know, they're not like a mountain goat that kind of stands there and jumps a little ways away and then looks back, and they're not. No. They just left the country.
They're gone.
They bolted.
Yeah.
Different behavior altogether.
Isn't it interesting? It's so interesting hunting different species because I've hunted ibex too, and they were the same. I mean, they were kind of curious and they would stop, but always out of range, always 80 yards or 90 yards, and they'd stop and look back. What are you? And I'm like, well, that's 2 past. And then I'd get closer. Well, then they'd run back out. And then, oh man, those were cool though. Ibex were. Have you hunted ibex?
I have not. When I talked to Sam, my guide and friend in New Zealand, he was like, "Yeah, I think ibex is like one of those animals you got to hunt, Brian.
Yeah,
like, if you
would like it.
This is you're gonna like that.
Yeah." I loved Spain too. I mean, that's where I went to hunt them. You can hunt them a lot of different places, but I found out in Greece you could hunt a species of ibex too. I was like, dang, I was just there. I should have done that. But Spain was, it was beautiful and good food.
Well, when you go back to New Zealand, like I want to go back there. We had basically one day of complete fog, and it was tough hunting. Then we had 2 good days to kill a tahr with a bow and arrow. And it didn't happen. And so the last day, we had to be out by like noon. So we went out early that morning, and we just I brought my bow, hoping that I might have one that was stockable.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Nothing, of course.
And so then we settled on one, and I shot it all the way across the canyon, which really was like
a good shot.
Well, and it was 440 yards. For me, that's pretty far. And I was like, I was looking at it going, man, rifle hunting and bow hunting are like, I can't tell you how different they are.
100%.
And not to disparage one or the other. Like I was so glad to get a tahr, and it was really fun to hunt with a rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, because it's a different kind of challenge, especially if it's not something you do all the time. Like for me, I'm not ashamed to pick up a rifle. I will. I hunt because I like to eat meat, and so for me, if I can get it done with the rifle, I'm more than happy to. So, I mean, I would prefer bow hunting over rifle hunting 100% all the time. But, like even this year, if I don't get an elk with my bow, I might do an over-the-counter late season
Yep.
elk tag because
I'm doing
I
both.
love elk meat. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't have room and I'm one person now. So, I don't have room in my freezer for,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
absolutely.
do. I guess I could give it away. So, but if I don't get one with a bow, then hopefully I'll get one.
Well, it's interesting to talk to you about about New Zealand, because
Yeah.
this was my first time going as well. And people, I think, I encourage people that haven't seen the film that we made to go out and see it, because
Yeah.
it's just beautiful. And the
It's
animal,
incredible
I think it's just
country.
the Himalayan Tahr is epic.
They're just a monarch of the mountains. And
Yeah.
I mean, if I could hunt them all the time, I would, I want to go back and almost do it every year,
Me too.
I'm like hooked now.
I
'Cause it's
can't
so
believe
cool.
it. Like, I can't believe
Yeah.
how much it has got me. It's such a challenge and such a unique animal.
I think that's why we like it so much, because it is so challenging. That terrain is and it makes or breaks you. That's when
Well,
you find out your true
yeah,
character,
and
because if you are not in shape or you're not physically fit, you're going off the mountain. It's not gonna,
we had Keith with us, and Keith is fit,
yeah.
but it's a different
different.
kind of fit. And
It's a mental,
Mm-hmm.
it's a mental too, because you can easily just shut off and be like, this is too hard. And our guide told us, he said multiple people have
for
gone
sure.
halfway up the mountain, and you know what? They're done.
This is too scary.
It's too much.
Too much.
Have a helicopter come and pick us up. Take me somewhere easier. And I mean, to each their own, and you do need to know your own limits. It's about balancing. But at the same time, that's when you're most uncomfortable, is when you really find out your true character, and if you're going to push on or if you're going to quit. So, I mean, and if some people have, physical, reasons that they can't go on, which is understandable, but yeah, I mean, that's why I train, because I want to be able to get to the top of those mountains as fast as I can. And two, I don't ever want to be that person that's holding somebody back. You know, I never want to be that.
Well, it's interesting too, because there have been a few people that are like, Brian, it's disappointing that you had to shoot one with a rifle and you couldn't do it with a bow. And it's like, give me more time, and I'd kill one with a bow.
Yeah.
Right. 2 days, 3 days. It's not very much time to figure out this whole thing, with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But also to that, I say, go give it a try.
Yeah.
Like, this animal is
100%.
way more switched on and more difficult to kill than people think it is.
100%.
They're like, well, it's just introduced. It has no predators. Pfft, big deal. No, it's got millions of years of evolution behind it, and it is what it is.
And
Whether
it's there because,
it's still ingrained in its DNA.
And I shot a chamois. A beautiful chamois. I think it was like a little over, it was like 5:59 or something like that.
Okay.
It was a far shot. It took us half the day. I shot it at 9:30. We didn't get to it till like 5 at night, because 500 yards. Think about that. That's not that far, but because of the location, it was, you had to go down 2 ravines, and they were so steep. And the guide was like, "Are you sure you want to shoot that? Maybe let's keep looking." And I was like, "No, I'm shooting it. Like, I don't." I was like, "I want, like, it's going to be challenging. Perfect. Like, let's do it." And then after we didn't get off the mountain till like 1 a.m, I was like, "Oh wow, maybe I shouldn't have shot that chamois," because of where it was. Like, it was dangerous. It was so dangerous. But that was probably one of the one times where I questioned why I was doing what I was doing. I was like, what the heck were you thinking getting yourself into this?
I mean, I do that every season. Like,
that was the only time I've ever been like, why am I doing this right now?
No, I mean,
I'm going to just lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah, there have been times where I've been like so tired and so burnt out, and I'm like, why do I think this is fun? Like, this has been just an absolute suffer.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? I think it happens often to guys, especially and gals. It just happens. But usually, I know that's fatigue talking.
Oh yeah. You know what I do?
Yeah.
You know what I do? And I was like, Jess, you may want to shoot me right now. But I just was laughing. I laughed at everything. I just was laughing, and I was just like, oh great. We went the wrong way again. just laughing about it, and I'm like, you probably want to shoot me right now. And Jess just is like looking at me because she was so frustrated, and she wasn't frustrated with me. It was just, the situation that we were in, but it was just like, I was just like, well, all you can do is laugh. But at the same time, I was like, I just want to get off this mountain right now.
Well, when you finish that, how does that change you as a person?
Oh, 100. I mean, I'd never woke up in the morning with so many muscles sore. I never even knew the muscles that I had in my hands. I've never had my hands be so sore. Everything. Because to get up the mountain, we were literally digging and clawing our way up. Yeah. I used every single muscle in my entire body. And that next day, it was miserable. But it was a great miserable, because then it was like, wow, we did that. We did that together. We kept each other calm. Jess, she went through a very traumatic experience, but I was there for her. I had her back, and I was like, it's okay. You've got this. You can do this. We've got this. We're going to make it off, and that's what's so cool about, her and I's relationship throughout that whole trip. It was always like one person was always, had each other's back. And it was always like, you know what? Where are we right now? Look at those mountains.
Yeah.
We're in New Zealand. That's where we are.
We're in Middle Earth.
I mean, can you even believe that we're doing this right now? And, it was really, really cool.
The thing is that sort of adventure is actually fairly affordable, especially when you stack it up against
you guys, if you could do
a mountain goat hunt or a sheep hunt or something like that.
Poor man's sheep hunting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Poor man's sheep hunting. Because, you can do it yourself. There's so much public lands, and then they consider those animals pests. Mm-hmm. They go out and do
no tags needed. Yeah.
Nothing. So you need to know the areas.
You can reach out to people in New Zealand and
helicopter,
Instagram, Facebook, follow some people that are involved. And, I think that there's some great people there that would welcome to show, it's not like most people that get to go there are going to be able to afford going there, but once every so often, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I'm much more likely to share a hunting area with someone in a draw unit in Arizona that takes 20 years to draw, because it's like, well, I'm not going to draw it again.
Yeah. For sure.
Or that person's not going to come back again for a really long time. It's not like that spot's going to get overrun. So,
and two, where we go, the helicopter pilots only take one person in one area. Yeah. You can also do it on foot. Like Adam, did you watch Adam's Tahr hunt? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Adam's just a savage, and he's buff hunting right now. His whole thing there. I mean, he is just the craziest
that
individual.
Film that him and Cam that just came out with him and Cameron Haynes, of the buffalo hunt, crocodiles in the water and so on. That's another level, man, of
I know
wild places.
That's what's next on the list.
Especially when that buffalo comes at Cam and it's kind of like tossing its head and it looks like it might just crush him. And correct me if I'm wrong, but was Adam Greentree calling the water buffalo to him?
He calls everything. That guy is insane.
I've heard he can make every animal sound with his mouth.
100%. Well, you saw it. He's the one who called in you watched the video of my fallow. That was insane. Oh yeah. He's just a savage. He's awesome. So Kimmy and I,
Greentree.
Kimmy Greentree. Yeah. We want to go on the buff hunt with him next year because Cam told us that we couldn't hack it. And so I said to Cam, no, I can hack it and I'm gonna.
No. I've learned not to, not
challenge me.
Yeah, not to doubt you or challenge you. In fact, I beat Rihana on the 5K run that we did in Vegas this last year.
Yeah. To be fair, Gritty ran with me the whole time and I didn't know. We were having an awesome conversation. Yeah. We were just chilling. It was just a fun run.
Right.
And a little, maybe a half a mile to the finish line, freaking Gritty just kicks it up a notch. And I was like, okay, I guess our conversation's done. Bye. I mean, whatever. And so I was like, okay, got through the finish line. And then Gritty goes, I beat you. And I was like, what? I said, yeah, what? You were racing me?
Look, you got complacent and you got beat.
I mean, said, if I would have known that, I would have left you in the dust.
Well, see, that's what I'm getting at is I really needed to own that and win. And if you knew it was a competition, it could have turned out differently. So there's a method to the madness.
It's funny. I mean, all in good fun.
I don't like, I'm careful about like challenge you on a archery range or on a hill climb, whatever.
I know. I mean,
if we want to there's some things I could probably I don't think you can do a muscle up on the rings. So there's some things like that I could. Can you?
I've never tried.
Okay. That means you probably can't. So that's like one where I'm like,
you're okay with?
I'm okay with. No, I've learned that. But Kimmy, I don't know. I don't know if Kimmy can pull this off.
Yes.
Cam might be right.
No, she can do it. She is.
Cammy, you're awful how do you describe it? Very designer, in vogue, very funny.
You know why
she's
coming?
Her as
because she is so funny. She will just make that trip so funny.
Absolutely.
I will die laughing, and I won't even think about how miserable I am.
When she posts some meme, if I go to her page and I read what she says, she is not about hanging with alligators exactly.
But she'll do it. I have complete, and two, with me there, I am that person that is
you're doing it.
It's it's scary.
Well, don't lose a leg or an arm or anything. I'd like that. And don't get smashed by a buffalo.
Well, you know what? If that's how I'm supposed to go, then that's how I'm supposed to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's a plan, and if you asked me, maybe I don't know, 10 years ago, if I'd ever go to Australia, I would have said no way, because snakes, it's just snake ridden.
Right.
And I have a huge fear of snakes. And so I was like, no, there's the most poisonous snakes there in the whole world. And they're just all over the place. So, I conquered that.
How is Adam not dead?
Well, you saw him messing with one of the most poisonous snakes just the other day on his Instagram story, didn't you? I had dreams about snakes that night. Thanks, Adam. But yeah, he's insane. I mean, he really doesn't, he said he doesn't see too many of them. So, and the ones that you do see, you're just aware. And it's, being aware of your surroundings, which I think, when I'm out hunting, I'm hyper aware.
Right.
Whereas when I'm cooking or walking down the street and I run into something, I'm probably on my phone or something.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, out there, I feel like it's, you have to be aware. Yeah. And I think it's just a different kind of miserable. It's 115 degrees, 115 to 20. It's so
what
hot.
was New Zealand like when you were hunting it?
Oh, New Zealand was cold.
Not New Zealand, Australia.
It was different because we weren't in the, outback. We were, closer into the towns. And it was very green. It was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more desert. But it was green, and for fallow and stag to be there, it needs to be greener.
Right.
And I mean, it was medium. It was kind of cold in the mornings, and you'd wear a light jacket and then take it off by midday. So it was really cool. Australia was, I loved it. Those fallow deer are really cool, and those things are switched on, but we were there for the rut, so that the males still are kind of dumb. And obviously that one we called into 8 yards, and
I saw you made that shot.
I couldn't believe it. I was about to shoot him when he was at 20 yards frontal. And, I asked Adam, I don't know if you can hear me in the video, but I'm like, Adam, frontal shot, shoot it now. And he said, just wait. Because, he has seen those animals so much. And two, now I'm like, oh, even with elk, he could still see that animal's looking past us, not at us. But as soon as I noticed right when he had smelt us and saw us, he started to put his head up, and I just shot because I knew he was about to turn around and freaking run. So
following that body language.
I was like, that was my only opportunity. And, I was lucky. I've never taken a frontal shot on an animal before, but I was very confident. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. did it and it worked out, luckily. So, I definitely want to go back and go after those. But I don't think I'm going to do it next year. I won't really want to do that buffalo hunt. So that's what I mean. I like that kind of stuff.
No,
I guess.
I do too. When people ask about what hunt do you want to go on the most, do you want to hunt mountain goat? Do you want to hunt sheep? Do you want to hunt, is it ibex? Is it tahr? Is it buffalo, lion? Like, what is it? Is it around the world moose? And I love bear hunting with a bow. Mm-hmm. I really love bears. I could watch bears all day long.
They're
and
cool.
I would like to hunt grizzly or brown bear with a bow and arrow. And that to me, and part of the reason that I want to do that is it's just, that's an animal that could
annihilate you.
Kill you.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing where it could, and that sort of bow hunt for me over time has become more compelling and more, just because that possibility always exists, that I feel more alive in that stock than I do when I'm chasing an elk and I'm getting close. There's excitement there, but there's a certain respect that I have for the bear as I close the distance.
And your safety. And when you're with other people too.
And it sounds, macho or whatever, but to me, it's like just a part of that primal DNA kind of, this is what I'm built to do as a human being, as a predator.
Yeah.
And there's something that just switches on, all senses are go in a way that it's not with other animals. And I would imagine that buffalo, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, buffalo kill a lot of people, like hippos, Cape buffalo.
Yeah. They're very aggressive.
Even. It's like they're they're a couple thousand pounds.
Yeah, they're heavy. I don't know exactly.
So,
I'll find out, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a certain amount of respect for the game being pursued because it could turn around and kill you.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And a bow and arrow, it puts you in close range of that.
Yeah.
And so, I find like I'm more interested in dangerous game than I used to be.
Yeah.
As I progress in hunting.
I feel
and
similar.
I'm more interested in that than I am in
fallow
sheep.
Oh, really? Sheep is still like top on my list, but because it's so expensive, I'm like, that'll probably never happen for me. But, buffalo, that's more feasible. And too, I can go and hang out with Adam and Kimmy.
Yeah.
Like any chance I can go and hang out with them or go to Australia, that's.
Well, Cam's probably right though. You can't hack it, so it'll be.
Yeah, right. Like I remember his very first buffalo hunt. He came back and he was telling me about it, and I was just like, "That sounds amazing." And he's like, "You couldn't do it." And I was like, and ever since then, it sparked my interest. So when I was telling Adam, I was like, "I would love to go," and Kimmy's like, "Me too." And I was like, "We're freaking going, Kimmy."
Yeah.
Kimmy, we're going. I mean, seriously, I think it would just be like just an epic hunt and be so much fun. So hopefully we can make it happen.
That's very cool.
I know.
Well, we should probably wrap up. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
And
hopefully we'll have more to talk about after this hunting season. Hopefully we'll both get our elk.
Yes. I'm kind of hoping to ensure some success. I'm going to spend quite a few days pursuing elk this year.
Yeah. My days are limited. But I am doing blacktail again. So I'm doing blacktail. I'm heading there with my friend Serena Thompson. Do you know her, Serena?
I know Serena.
Yeah. So I'm going, just her and I are going to go and pack in. We'll be there. The fires are pretty bad, but I've been watching the area that we're going and the fires haven't, they're not close. So it'll be very smoky.
Is Southern Oregon or is it Northern California?
Northern California. Yeah. I've done that the past few years.
Yeah.
And so, I'm really excited. Hopefully it'll be good. It's really fun. And I might get a bear tag too, because I saw 16 bears in 7 days there last year or the year before. So, they just have tons of predators, period. So it'll be a fun hunt for us. And the area that I'm going, I know where they are in the mornings and in the evenings. And so hopefully I can make it happen, because that one has been a hard one for me to get. That's been the California blacktail has taken advantage of me.
That's a tough one. All blacktail. All blacktail.
They're very wiry. Yeah. So but they're in the velvet. So that's cool.
So people can follow you at
Rihana Cary on Instagram.
Rihana
And
Cary.
I'm on Facebook as well, Rihana Cary. But
Are you really?
Yeah, I mean, I get on there. I do
you?
sometimes. Yeah.
I'm not very good at
Me
Facebook.
neither. I
If
love Insta.
People leave me messages on Facebook, and I kind of get to them here and there.
Yeah.
If you follow me on Instagram and you leave a message, I'm pretty good about getting back to everyone.
I am the exact same way.
Not everyone. Like, there are days where I leave for 3 or 4 days in a row, and I come back and the inbox is so full. It's like I'm like, I'm not going to get back to those.
Yeah.
And I kind of start where I'm at.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of
Trying to
messages
get better
lately.
at email.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of stuff comes in and it's hard to get back. But DMs, I can kind of quickly leave a comment or a response and get back.
Yeah. I'm the same way. So yeah, if you have any questions or, anything, I'm always, Instagram's the go-to.
Rihana Cary, it's RihanACary.
Yep. That's me.
Yep.
Go
All right.
check it out.
Folks, thanks for listening to the
thanks for
Gritty
having me.
Podcast, and leave us a review if you like the show. I always appreciate that on iTunes. And any last words, any words of wisdom you want to drop?
Oh, man.
Any pet peeves you want to share? I just did one with Chris Spieler, and it was quite interesting. His was like the price tag sticker left inside the new car, like for a few days.
Really? I don't see that often.
This is how much my car costs.
Oh, I see. I see. Oh, yeah. No, that thing's out of there. What is my pet peeve? For the most part, I'm pretty easygoing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I do not like it when other hunters hate on other hunters. That is a pet peeve of mine. Like, we're all in this together, folks. Just because somebody's being really positive and energetic in the outdoor space, and, I think that it can, I don't know, people sometimes just don't like that. They want to see people unhappy, and so they just have to. Yeah. So that is like, I cannot stand that. I'm just like, really? You hunt too? Like, could you just
I'm with you.
Spread some positivity and love.
Yeah, I that's a good one. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't have patience for bullying. I don't have patience for meanness.
Because that's exactly what it is. It's just bullying. And I mean, you never know what somebody's going through. You know what I mean? That bullying could drive them to, fall deeper into depression. I mean, there are serious mental, mental illnesses that people are going through. And that only thing that's going to do is drive them into a darker place, because you never know what somebody's going through.
Well, I just think it smacks of arrogance when someone belittles someone else or tries to, a lot of times it just stems from jealousy. Yeah. It comes from a place of resentment and bitterness. And I think it shows weakness.
100%.
It's weak to bully others and to make fun of others.
Yeah. And for me, I'm just like compassionate. Like, I put myself in other people's shoes, and I would, I just couldn't be that person that, gives them even more stay. So.
I get it. Like, when it comes to certain individuals, like, I can't follow their content.
Oh,
like, I'm like, or I can't listen to their podcast, or I can't watch their TV show. I'm just like, oh, shoot my brains out. Like, it's not me. It doesn't resonate with me, and I can't get behind the message or the feel of it. It doesn't represent me in any way. Yeah. Right. I get all that. And so, I try to be constructive in that feedback, and and I don't endorse stuff that I'm not into, but I don't go out of my way to hate on an individual or to tear down an individual. I think that doesn't really help. I think
that does nothing.
It's really more about, making a positive difference.
100%. You want to be a part of a positive tribe, not a negative one.
I have no patience with bullying.
No.
None. Zero.
Yep.
Zero. When I see someone pick on someone else, it literally makes me so angry.
That's what makes me the most angry, honestly. I mean, a pet peeve or whatever it is, but I just am like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I feel sorry for them, because it's a lack of something that's in their life. You know what I mean? It's a lack of, of a good person. Those people feed off of each other and just create this whirlwind of just.
Social media has made it it's given every human being a voice, somewhere where they can, and access to so many different people in this social space. And so you can say things and be hurtful and mean. And I get stuff every week, every day.
Yeah.
But Thankfully I've kind of finally, I think, come to terms with a lot of that, and I just don't care anymore, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
in fact, it's
you know
funny.
what? There's so much more positive that comes from positive people than negative. You get that 1 or 2 negative comments.
It's so easy to focus on those, though.
Mostly it's like hundreds of other people coming up to you and saying, you inspired me. You did this for me. You helped me with this. So really that should outweigh that negativity. Like you get hundreds of great responses. You're going to get 2 or 3 bad ones.
I've seen a few people on social media that had a huge following, especially women that were very involved and were making a positive inroads in hunting and were great people to follow. And, on their Instagram, they might like post something like, you should check out these boots or whatever. And everyone's like, you sell out, you do all this. And there's this meanness that comes from that. And I've seen them leave the space, and I thought, man, what a shame, because I really enjoyed actually following their stories and what they're doing, and I thought they made a positive. They gave in hunting a very positive image, and they really reached a lot of people, and yet our own space cannibalized them for very shallow and pathetic reasons.
Horrible. It's just like you said, it's basic bullying, and it's not to be tolerated.
No. It's interesting.
Get yourself out of here.
That's right.
Bully.
All right, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. And as always,
stay gritty.
Yeah. Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself. What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to The Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.